What is the problem that you're facing with thumbnail sketches?
सर लाइक while doing a composition ना तो पहला आइडिया आता है सो लाइक वही मैं ज्यादा कर देता हूँ लाइक उसको कंपोजिशन में तो वो लाइक ऐसा लगता है कंफर्ट जोन में रह रहा हूँ ट्राई आउट नहीं कर रहा हूँ थंबनेल्स बहुत सारे
So limited ideas is what you're saying.
हाँ लिमिटेड एंगल्स
Ideas or POVs or maybe compositions actually. One of these things. Limited compositions. That's the thing, right?
Too time consuming.
Sir, how much element should we add?
What else?
Sir, like, is it creating a mini story and all?
Setting our perspective.
Sir, after completing it, confirming a thumbnail that we're going to use, we change it while actually doing it sketch. That
So-
brings so many comments.
I wanted to address this anyway. Thumbnail to sketch.
सर आफ्टर मेकिंग थंबनेल टू स्केच बहुत खाली खाली लगता है लाइक बहुत सारे एलिमेंट्स मिसिंग लगते
So after making a sketch from thumbnail, it seems very forced.
Loses the feel. It's a very rough image that I found, and it helps you understand what it is. First of all, you have a frame. Your thumbnail sketch should be very small, the size of your thumbnail actually, right? Very tiny. The purpose of the thumbnail is that you get your ideas on to the paper. Now, if you are thinking in a certain direction, limited compositions, if you're thinking only in one particular directions, that is a problem. Now, how do you make sure that that doesn't happen? And when you make actually thumbnails, you get different type of ideas. Now, let's say the train scene only. Okay, we will stick to that for ease of sketching, and also we're not thinking too much because we're running behind the schedule now. So if we have, let's say, these many people here, if a question requires you to show this, right? You have to get onto the train. Now, could this be shown like this, where this is the train? Could it be shown like this?
Yes, sir.
Same thing, the train. This is from a very distant, pretty flat, but very dynamic because you're using foreshortening very well. And then you have people with their bags. Same thing we have shown in different compositions, right? As a kid also here. Now we've done 2, 1, 2, and 3 compositions. Let's see if we can think beyond these. In the exam, if you're able to come up with 3 or 4 max, there is a good number of ideation sketches in that time frame that is given to you. But they have to be starkly different. 1, 2, and 3. There's a very 3 different type of compositions. How else could you show? Let's say you're on the platform, not on the platform, sorry, the footbridge that leads to the platform. This composition, following everybody?
Yeah, like could you write like you have given number 1, like could you write what is happening there?
So this is a train scene that we're taking from the previous. Okay, same thing. We're trying to represent that in different compositions. Okay, I'll just mark it out here. This is a train door. This is again the train, but this is from a top perspective. So the door would be somewhere here, and these people are trying to get into it.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is the train. This is like a very flat perspective, but you made it quite dynamic with foreshortening and playing with what is in the foreground, what is in the background.
Yeah, understood, sir. Yeah, okay.
The fourth one, what we're talking about here is we have, let's say, somebody who is standing on the footbridge. You see the train here, and you have people. Is the thing that we're communicating changing in any of the frames? Are we keeping the purpose of the sketch same in all the compositions or not? We're not changing the purpose, but we are depicting the same feel in different compositions. That is the purpose of your thumbnail sketches. Anything that you're doing, is it a poster? Is it a composition, like a scenario sketch? Or is it a product sketch? Anything. The purpose of the sketch is same. And you're trying different compositions, different ways to represent that scenario to achieve that purpose in different ways. You're just putting those ideas on paper. Now, this is for scenario sketches and posters and things like that. The second could be design questions. Now, here you do ideations. Ideation mein kya hota hai? If you're supposed to make a product, I'm just sketching a random product. Okay, I'm not sticking to a particular thing. Okay, let's say we've been talking about nail cutters. So let's say this is a type of a nail cutter that you're designing. Don't look at the quality of the design as of now, because the purpose is just to explain how you get your ideas onto the paper. Maybe this is one idea, or maybe you have a nail cutter like this. You don't know, maybe you have it. Okay. So at this point, you're just getting things on the paper. Now, what else? It could be a stick like this. What else could be there? What else could be? Maybe the nail cutter is something like this, and it is longer than we thought it would be. Maybe like a hair clip. So here, the purpose is to get your ideas on paper, because you see everything in front of you and then you can decide which one is solving the problem at hand. Maybe this also has an improvement of the idea that we made before, different shape. So here what we're doing is, for design questions or where we are actually making products, layouts, I don't think they'll ask you to make layouts. You can bring your ideas onto the paper. Now these ideas could be n number of ideas. I think we've just been drawing this one for a few minutes now, 3 or 4 minutes, and we already have what, five ideas here. So the whole purpose here is to bring your ideas onto the paper for design question. In these things, what happens that, okay, maybe the frame number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Maybe you think that, okay, I want to combine your idea number 1 and idea number 4. You find that interesting. So maybe it has something like this, and now we've combined it. So you can easily combine ideas and move forward. It helps you do that. If you attempt to do that in your fair sketch, you will spoil the page. One, you will have to erase, waste of time, and you will not have clarity what you're doing in design questions. So here, limited compositions where your mind is getting stuck, you have to think about the purpose of the scenario. The purpose of the scenario here in the first one was to show the overwhelm. And we've done that in all 4 frames. But different point of views. Now, how did these come into the picture? What helped the brain think in these many directions? Relying on your past experiences. You've been to the railway station so many times. You've seen these sort of scenarios, not only in railway stations, but Mumbai locals. You've also seen in the metro stations everywhere. So try to think of those scenarios where you can think of overwhelming crowd, even if the point of view is completely different. Let's say you're standing in your balcony and you have a temple right in front of your house, and you see overcrowded temple. That is also a good reference for you to replace that temple with a train. So make connections. That is what will bring some originality and some different perspectives to thumbnail sketches here. Second, the ideas, like I said, you just have to keep on presenting it out. What sort of nail cutter looks like this? This is such a stupid idea, but you still make it. Coming to the time that you take to make this, it's just because that I'm explaining, I've drawn it very slowly. If I have to make it very fast, I'll just show you what I would do with the nail cutters. Let's say if this is the nail cutter, and I say, okay, this is. If I'm making this one, if I'm modifying that, maybe a flatter surface. If it's the first frame that I have to or the, let's say, something else that I want to recreate, maybe. Now, how much time did this take me? Not even 1 minute, right? 1 minute, I had these things and I put it down. And this is exactly how your thumbnail sketches should look like. No details required. You should be able to understand what it is. Even in the first one, it gives you a clear idea about what you're sketching. One, the context, the foreshortening is also there. Foreground, middle ground, background. In every composition, you see that. Foreground, middle ground, and the background. So it has to have this information, your thumbnail sketch. Foreground mein kya aayega? What will be in the foreground? What will be in the middle ground? What will be in the background? That need not be detailed. Think when you're making the thumbnail sketch. Don't just draw. Focus on just making the sketch and just drawing. Then you'll consume time. If you think about foreground, I'll have this. For middle ground, I'll have this. Background, I'll have this. Then you'll be quick. So limited compositions, time consuming, details, I've answered. Story, we're keeping the essence of the sketch intact. So the story is preserved. So that comes from the understanding that you need to know that this is what I have to represent. That comes from the understanding of the question, how to approach. Thumbnail to sketch, I'm coming to it, and loses the feel. I'm coming to these two. Very important. Now here, if you see, what is the best one that you would pick in these 4 scenarios here?
Third one.
Third
Third
one.
one.
Though it is 1 point, it looks quite interesting. Let's say if this is the final sketch that you have to make. First of all, what you need to do is you need to draw the structure. What will be there with a very light. Could switch pencils, but you can regulate pressure also. So this approach is my approach. It also depends on how you make the sketch. If you have a habit of, starting from one corner and fairing it out, then just rely on what you do usually. You don't have to change it for this. This is my approach, okay? But what you could do is, irrespective of how you make the sketch, some things are common that you fix. The train is going to be fixed there. The position of the door is going to be fixed. That is not going to change. Now, I'm going to sketch like really big people in the front and maybe some person here with the luggage and with a kid here and the luggage here. And maybe this fellow has luggage on his head. The same thing. And this I sketch very, very light. You have to keep in mind that to get the same feel, now you get the feel. To get the same feel, you need to check this, the point of view. First of all, what messes up from thumbnail sketch to the fair sketch is the point of view. Even if it is a slightly lower, higher, sideways, or this or the other way, it changes the feel instantly. So you need to fix on things that bring that feel or perception. So you need to identify those things. Identify what is making the thumbnail sketch look really good. First of all was the one that you have people in the foreground and a lot of things happening here, right? A lot of things happening here and people in the foreground. This is the core of this sketch, of this thumbnail, and we have to retain that when we are coming to our fair sketch. And this creates a lot of space. You see, now in the thumbnail, you made something in a very random way and you said, okay, we'll fill it up. Now, what you could do is here you have room to include more things. Now, since you want to keep this view unaltered, you have to experiment making people of different heights. Or what else could you do? You could also have somebody taking maybe a trolley, right? You have that trolley, right? Here you have more bags, more people. You can always keep drawing kids or different age groups, teenagers. That's why I always keep saying you have to practice different people from different age groups. So now you have some ground that you can show, making it further interesting. You have some ground or maybe tiles here that you could show. So it makes it a little more interesting. So what needs to be added, that again comes from your experience of what you've seen, while preserving the same look and feel that, okay, this person needs to be visible. He cannot get lost. Elements to add should enrich your composition. Now, do you think anything we've lost from here to here or we've gained? If you think that you've lost, then try to do some small observations here. What else is needed? What else could be there to bring the feel back? If you've enhanced, then just move forward. Don't think about it. Okay? Makes sense? So does that bring us close to the end of thumbnail sketching? In the exam, I don't want you to spend more than 1 to 3 minutes on thumbnails. If it is a design question, then I would say the time that you have is, if it's let's say if it's a half an hour question, right? Half an hour, if you have the time limit, then I would say your time is not more than 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you should be able to, at max, I would say 6 minutes. Don't go beyond this. If you go beyond this, you'll just cutting short on time that you have for the fair one, because you need time to develop this also, right? To develop the context and enrich the sketch. And here in product sketches, once you go from, let's say, a thumbnail to a fair sketch, this is how your exam paper will be. I would suggest a good way of doing it is, let's say this is your sketch. If you want to focus on something like something here, I would say talk about maybe material that you have here for grip. Okay, I'm just inventing now. And if you want to talk about this blade, I would not sketch the entire thing. I just sketch this and make sure that this is communicated as the inside part of it, or maybe just the blade. Material, if you want to mention, you can mention here. Do apt shading so that it is communicated as a shiny surface and a blade sort of a feel. And here you could just write some short notes if you want. The next thing I would want you to do is very rough, the scale of the product. I'm making it very small because I think it could be for portable stuff. So how you hold it. User scenario. This is how your product should be. You can even add some more details here if you want. That's totally up to you. You still have this much space left.
Is it okay to go with the first idea we get? मतलब कभी कभी होता है फर्स्ट आइडिया भी अच्छा एकदम यूनिक आ जाता है लाइक थंबनेल में
हाँ हाँ
कंपोजिशन.
you can go with the first idea, but the thing is your first idea the best one? Like
Yes.
here, we got it in the third one. So
Right,
you
sir.
still need to check if your first idea is the best one. So you need to go through this process of presenting those things on the paper or your ideas on the paper so that you know at least that first is the better one.
Right, sir.
Without concluding that, don't go for the first one.